What's up, family? Get this video a big thumbs up. So today I want to have a real conversation with y'all. No sugarcoat and no celebrity worship, just real life. And we got to talk about Michelle Obama. And I want to preface the conversation before we actually get into the video because I want to have a conversation with you guys, family. And the obvious is Michelle Obama's right. Entire platform, her fame, her influence, her money, it all stems from being connected to Barack Obama. And let's not pretend otherwise. Before Barack hit the national stage, Michelle was successful, yes, but not a household name. And she wasn't doing stadium tours, writing best selling books, or hosting podcasts reaching millions, right? And it was Barack's grind, Barack's risk, Barack's once in a generation success that elevated both of their lives. He didn't just build a political career, he built a legacy that his family will benefit from forever. And after all, we're hearing Michelle Obama or Michelle frame her life like she's some kind of victim. And I wanted to preface the conversation and introduce where I'm getting at with this. And you guys have the gist of where I'm getting at with it. But now that I preface the conversation, let's check out the clip, family.
And keep striving. And so practicing no in a very different way intentionally. But then this is what makes it hard because, my decision to skip the inauguration, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
it's like,
Mhm.
while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me, and it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was a hard thing for me to do.
Mhm.
I had to basically trick myself out of it. And it started with not having anything to wear. I mean, I had affirmatively, because I'm always prepared for any
Right.
funeral, anything. I walk around with the right dress. I travel with clothes just in case something pops off.
Mhm.
So I was like, if I'm not going to do this thing, I got to tell my team, I don't even want to have a dress ready.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so easy to just say, let me do the right thing.
But then you become a shock absorber.
Yeah.
And that's what women are. We're
Yeah.
shock absorbers.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting. And
It
it's not
is.
healthy.
Yeah.
It is not healthy.
Mhm.
You've had to be shock absorbers for your husband,
Yeah.
for your children, for your mom, for your
Yeah.
family, your loved ones, because of where you were sitting in the public eye.
Mhm.
That's not fair to you. When do you ever get to live for you?
Mhm.
I applaud you. I'm happy that you are taking care of yourself in the way that you need to.
Yeah.
I've been talking to Misha about this, and opting out might be that's a great prognosis or a great
What is he trying to say?
suggestion or strategy for folks who are feeling the way we're feeling the way we're talking about here.
Because you can't keep pushing through. That's detrimental. That could end very bad. Because you're not paying attention. I mean, I had a girlfriend one time. She was taking on so much. She didn't even realize she spilled hot grease on her chest.
Wow.
She just disfigured her entire chest, doing too much. I mean, physically, it's impossible. You have to stop and go, whoa.
Hold up. Bruh. Grease, right? Even when you cooking something, you get a little pops of grease on you, like, oh snap. You know what I'm saying? Acid on your body that's having a reaction. Hot grease, a whole pot of hot grease. And she had no reaction. Look, man, I understand the play. The play that I believe here is Barack Obama, just like the Obamas have been doing for a long period of time, is basically running in the film. First of all, Michelle Obama, what she's doing here, and the Barack Obamas has been known to basically capitalize off people trauma, and they like to gear more to the black culture, the black community. And however, in this case, her podcast will be successful due to her going to the feminine direction of obviously going capitalizing and being successful with her podcast from the traumas of broken women and talking about them to the extreme where she gains the sentiment and tug on their heartstrings, but not necessarily giving those solutions, let alone she is married to the man who had the highest office of the land. And she's sitting here running into the Victim Olympics, and she's sitting here talking about broken trauma and how a woman with P. Henson, who is single, she's not married, an unmarried woman and a married woman, Michelle Obama, is running in the Victim Olympics of how a woman basically took on so much and women are shock absorbers, running into the Me Too feminine movement to basically the intensity and the sentiment of broken women and their traumas and everything they've been through to make themselves rich, to make her podcast successful. You're not about to tell me somebody that poured a whole thing of hot grease on them ain't feel that, bro. So now you're just using the whole extreme of extremism. You women got to wake up. This whole feminine movement of expressing the extreme of traumas from women and just have an outburst. And Michelle Obama, she ain't even on the broken woman today that's going through these hard times. Michelle Obama can't relate. She been in a bubble for how long? Man, get out of here, man. But I get to play. I get to play. And I want to know you guys' thoughts down in the comments. Do you guys think that she's capitalized off of broken women traumas and she's going to basically go to the extreme to bring more women up here and connect with the feminine movement of broken women and their traumas to resonate with them, so then that gains an audience and keeps her engagement high and attraction of her being a successful podcaster due to playing off of the traumas, acting like she's talking about something that's not only resonates with someone who's really going through something, but acting like she can relate when she really can't relate. Comment down below, because the Barack Obamas have been known to do that. When the last time you heard Barack Obama going back to Chicago and giving back besides building his library? They ain't worrying about going back and helping nobody. You know the sentiment of the poor, of the rich capitalizing off the poor. It's the same way. It just the tactic is capitalizing off the traumas, acting like they're giving a solution, and they feel for you. I feel for a woman that's so busy being a shock absorber for her husband. A shock absorber. It's called adulthood. You ever heard of being an adult? So where I'm getting at with this in this conversation I want to have with you guys is, um, look, man, when it came to Barack grind and Barack's risk and Barack's one in a generation success that elevated both of their lives, he didn't just build a political career. He built something that benefited from their family forever. And now, after all, Michelle is running in this Victim Olympics. She talks about being tired of playing second fiddle, about skipping major events because she's tired of being seen as an extension of her husband. If anything, this is an embarrassment because you are the reflection of your family and let alone a reflection of your husband. About needing to prioritize herself above everything. But let's continue to see what else she got to say before I continue.
What's happening with me? I have to check out. I'm sorry, everyone. I have to check out for my own safety and sanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to do, but you must. You must. I don't know if that's sending the kids away for summer. I used to get on my mom because that last day of school, my bag was in the trunk and she was driving me down south. Right. And I
now you understand.
I totally get it. I understand that woman needed a break. And I was a lot as a kid. I was very rambunctious, probably undiagnosed ADHD, but here we are.
Found a way to turn lemons into lemonade.
Exactly. Yeah, but like you're saying, you're just learning. I'm just learning. It's something that you have to do. And hopefully, Shantae, you will get this message from hearing from me and from Queen Michelle that you have to take time for yourself. In spite of making people happy, at some point you have to make yourself happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that simple.
And one of the ways I started thinking about this, because this is the habit. It's like maybe I'm still working on being able to do things just solely for myself and being okay with that. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
Through therapy and conversations like this and talking to my friends. But I'm still thinking about the example I'm setting for my daughters. Right. So I am trying now that they are 23 and 26 to talk to them about my menopause brain. I'm like, how old are they? Is what he's referring to. I want them to start practicing now the art of saying no.
Yes.
Because I see it in them, pleasing, excelling, not wanting to take anything for granted, always showing gratitude, right? Feeling like they're enough right now, right? It's a practice.
It is.
Right? It's a muscle that you have to build, because if you don't constantly build it, you don't develop it. And I think we suffered because it's almost like we started training late in life to build that muscle, right? I am just now starting to build it, right?
Yep.
I want our daughters, I want the young women out there. And I know we're talking about women of color, but we're talking about women and we're talking about all people who take on too much. I mean, we can identify and relate to our why as Black women, but I don't presume that other people aren't dealing with these same struggles.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So I want my girls to start practicing different strategies for saying no, right? I don't want them to, because if I'm showing up at this stage in my life and they are seeing me still wonder whether I deserve to say no, what does that teach them if after all that I've done in this world, if I'm still showing them that I still have to show people that I love my country, that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm always going high all the
That's part of adulthood. That's part of being a parent. I just feel like they're trying to use this feminine movement of the strong, independent woman and she's tired. Well, first of all, you wasn't saying all that about doing what's best for your country when you was in the spotlight with your husband. This is embarrassing to the work of your husband. And it's mind-blowing to me that she's talking about now prioritizing herself above everything. And look, everyone deserves self-care. Take care of yourself. But at what point does it stop being taking care of yourself and start being straight up selfishness? Let me know in the comments, family. In real life, think about it. Imagine a man builds a business from the ground up. His wife supports him, but now because they made it, she decides she's tired of being known as the wife. She started making moves for herself. Stop showing up at important events. Stop being beside him. Publicly starts framing their journey as something that held her back instead of lifting her up. Wouldn't most people say that's ungrateful? Wouldn't that feel like a slap in the face to the man who risked it all? That's exactly what we're seeing play out here. And when Michelle talks about taking her power back, what she's really saying is, I'm not obligated to support the person who built a very platform I'm standing on. It's mind blowing to me.
The time, even in the face of a lot of hypocrisy and contradiction, right? All I'm doing is keeping that crazy bar that our mothers and grandmothers set for us. So I'm trying to teach them, just like, Shantae, you got to start practicing your nose so you build that muscle.
The sooner the better.
The sooner the better. And here's the thing. What I've realized in practicing no a little bit, people can handle no.
They really can. They have no choice.
That's right.
They have no choice, really.
And we're not all that important. You know, the world doesn't
stop spinning
because I said no to your event. They usually just move on to the next thing. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, so you know, life goes on. You know, and if we stop carrying the load, maybe we set it down, somebody will pick it up.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's wild. You're supposed to be a helpmate. You have a wife talking about, oh, I'll sit here and be lazy when I want, and I'm going to say no because I don't want to do it. And somebody will pick it up. At that point, you're just an anchor weighing down. At what point I have learned that if you don't have no value, then you're worthless. And you see a lot of women, they'll say, oh, I got a lot to bring to the table. If I can cook for myself, if I can clean for myself, if I can wash my clothes and I can clean my house and my home, what can you really bring that's valuable? Oh, I'm a nurturer. Okay. Well, you saying you a nurturer, but what is it to a man if a man can nurture a very thing like a business to build up so you can be the recipient of his success? You benefit from it. We can nurture too. So what can you bring from a business perspective? Do you have can you control the room and you be in rooms with me as my girl, as my wife, and being able to have a great voice to be able to articulate yourself so then you can open up doors that I may not have access to so I can network more effectively so it benefits our family from a business perspective. Like, come on, man, these women be talking saying baseless things, man. And it's mind blowing to me that the cold part is once a person reaches this mindset, like Michelle, there's nothing their significant other, in her case, her husband, Barack Obama, could do to fix it. Barack could show up at her podcast, which I think he will. He could hype her up. He could stand front row at every event, but it won't matter because once someone rewrites their story that makes themselves the only hero, they don't see the sacrifices anymore. They only see what they feel they lost. And this is real life. People get spoiled by success. They forget the days when things weren't sweet. They forget the grind, the sacrifices, the nights, even when everything was on the line, because she knew that before Barack Obama came president and got on the national platform, or I should say, before he became being televised worldwide and became a president for 2 terms, she already knew the direction he was going in before he went and became president and got elected. Why you didn't leave then? So to me, if anything, she's switching up and she's spoiled. And see, women get spoiled sometimes, fellas. You gotta let them go. You gotta let them suffer because now they have been spoiled from your greatness and the very thing that they have forgotten where they came from, and they have forgotten that they are the beneficiary to your success. So now they have been spoiled with everything that has been given to them, and now they feel like they're empowered by the success that they benefited from to the point where they feel like they don't need to respect you. You worthless. When really you're the one. You can't have a woman like that around. Because at the end of the day, she's selfish. And what is it to build with someone that be your significant other and become one with if they selfish? A selfish person becomes a taker. A taker and a taker is psychotic. And in this case, if you got someone taking and the marriage is one-sided, it'll drain the relationship anyway because they only care about themselves. And she's starting to believe that she made it herself. And suddenly gratitude turns into entitlement. And that's what we're witnessing with Michelle Obama. And the conversation we should be having is, at what point does self-care become selfish? How do you stay grateful when success starts making you feel bigger than the people who helped you? See, I always was taught, right, that the world don't owe you nothing. And the person that you can call yourself getting on and putting your foot up there behind could be the behind that you need to, that could be the behind that you're going to kiss. because then you need something. You know that famous line where they say, "Don't be rude to somebody because you never know if you'll need them." But what does it say about a relationship when one person's individual growth starts disrespecting the foundation that got them there? Right? This isn't just about Michelle and Barack. This happens every day in marriages, in friendships, in families, in business partnerships. Success tests loyalty. Success tests character. And sometimes success exposes just how quickly people forgot who was really in their corner when it mattered most. See, she need a reality check, right? She done forgot. Because at the end of the day, she could divorce Barack right now. And ain't nobody gonna care about Michelle. The only reason why Michelle is being discussed because she is tied to the name of being Barack Obama's wife. They will kiss the ground that Barack Obama walk on. She'll be nothing. She'll just vanish and disintegrate in midair. Ain't nobody gonna care about her. The same way she said, "Oh, life goes on. The world doesn't stop moving. The world ain't gonna stop moving when you the one that's left behind and you lost your marriage because you embarrassing your husband right now." Sometimes you got to make an example out of someone and make them realize, look, what you got is privilege. And what you have, you should humble yourself because at the end of the day, you can lose something because you think that you're better than what you've been blessed with. What you're destroying your blessing before your very eyes due to your selfishness. So, real talk, Barack deserves more respect, not just behind closed doors, but publicly. Because at the end of the day, if you can't stand with the person who stood with you through the climb, you're showing the world exactly who you are. And it ain't strength, it's selfishness. What president have you known that haven't shown up at the Jimmy Carter funeral and at Trump inauguration with their spouse not beside them? Barack, out of all the presidents, Barack Obama is the only president where his wife didn't show up to two events. Embarrassing. Bill Clinton got hit in the White House, and Hillary's still by his side. And whatever happens behind closed doors, they get through it. But publicly, she would still respect her husband, the Clintons, right? So it also embarrasses the Obama's legacy. But what do y'all think? Is Michelle Obama setting a bad example by rewriting her story this way? Should success ever erase gratitude? And if someone helped you level up, do you owe them lifelong public respect? Or is it fair to choose yourself later? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear from you guys. Let the love supersede the hate. Spread that peace, love, and positivity, family. And as always, peace.